Did John F. Kennedy escalate the Vietnam War? When we think about the Vietnam War, one name often comes to mind: John F. Kennedy. His presidency in the early 1960s was a time of significant change in U.S. involvement in Vietnam. But did he really escalate the conflict? Let's break it down. When John F. Kennedy took office in January 1961, Vietnam was already a troubled area. The Viet Cong, a communist guerrilla group, was gaining strength, and the United States had been providing support to South Vietnam since the 1950s. However, Kennedy's administration marked a shift towards greater involvement. One of his key actions was to increase the number of U.S. military advisors in South Vietnam. When he began his presidency, there were about 700 advisors. By the time he was assassinated in November 1963, that number had skyrocketed to over 16,000. This was a clear sign of escalating U.S. commitment to the region. Kennedy's strategy was influenced by the domino theory. This idea suggested that if one country fell to communism, neighboring countries would follow. To counter this, Kennedy believed that a strong presence in Vietnam was necessary. Another significant moment during Kennedy's presidency was the removal of South Vietnamese President Diem. This coup, which had the support of the United States, led to increased instability in South Vietnam. The aftermath of this event further complicated U.S. involvement and set the stage for future conflicts. While some historians argue that Kennedy may not have intended to commit large numbers of U.S. ground troops, his actions certainly laid the groundwork for the escalation that followed under President Lyndon B. Johnson. In the context of the 1960s, Kennedy's decisions regarding Vietnam reflected a broader narrative of Cold War politics. His charismatic leadership and idealistic vision for America are often remembered, but the Vietnam War would become a dark chapter in U.S. history. Kennedy's impact on Vietnam remains a topic of discussion. His presidency was marked by both hope and turmoil, and the legacy of his decisions continues to influence how we view U.S. foreign policy today. The Vietnam War, which began as a conflict in the background, became a defining issue of the decade, shaping the political landscape for years to come.